Welcome back to What I've Learned podcast with your host, Mark Blair, and your co host, Grant Kropfeld. We are excited to bring on a YouTube star, Ken Pozek. He's from Orlando, Florida, and he's got over 1 million views right now. He's an absolute rock star. We enjoy his company and conversation every time we get the chance. So, Ken, welcome to What I've Learned podcast. How you doing today?
Doing well. It's almost 1.6 million views now. So just
1.6. All right. Just climbing up that.
It's climbing up there. Yeah, right on.
All right, get your autographs while you can then, folks. So tell us, Ken, tell us a little backstory about yourself. You came out of a very cool market out of Michigan, then traveled back to where you were visiting a lot. I know you were going to Marco Island often. So tell us your a little bit of your backstory and how you got there.
Yeah, so I'm from Detroit. When you say cool spot, you mean like it's freezing all the time in Michigan.
That's what I mean
so
by cool.
Yeah,
that's what I mean by cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and I grew up there. Started in real estate right out of high school, so 2003, and got into like full-time sales in 2008. Built up a team there. We were doing 7 figures in commissions, a little over 40 million in volume. And in 2016, my wife and I were just like, you know what? We're still young. The kids are still young. If we were going to ever start over somewhere, it would be easier to do it now than, when we're older in life. And so why not start over? So we moved to where we didn't know anybody, which was Orlando, just because we enjoy Florida. And, I thought that there was some good opportunity there. And so, 5 years later, so that was like 2017 was our first full year. So, 5 years later, we're on track to do about 125 million this year for about 250 sales on the real estate side.
That is phenomenal. That's phenomenal. I think that's a
big
dream
number.
for a lot of people.
And how big's your team now down there in Orlando?
Yeah, so we've got 11 of us. So it's 3 transaction coordinators, 1 marketing manager, myself, and then the Delta are agents.
Gotcha. And so basically now you're just making YouTube videos, right? That's not even doing real estate.
Yeah, I mean, I still sell at least a house or 2 a week. So, but yeah, mostly doing video content, growing the channel accounts, and so just kind of growing the business development and content are what I spend the majority of my time on. And but I still still sell 1 or 2 houses a week.
So I've seen some of your videos, and I've seen like where you may have a couple videos where people spotted you in making the video. Like we're like, hey, you're that guy from YouTube. People locally had seen you and stuff and followed you.
Yep.
And with that, I'm assuming you're no longer having to really go out there and make like the cold calls on a daily basis and do all that kind of stuff, because people are probably reaching out to you more often than you're having to reach out to anybody else.
Yeah, that's right. So we get like anywhere between like 8 and 15 leads a day from our social media and our newsletter that we send out. And so we get a lot of agent referrals, but yeah, it's mostly inbound. So the majority of what my agents on my team and I do are just lead follow-up throughout the day, and seeing who we can help as quick as possible.
Yeah, that's awesome. And one of my questions, we'll just start tearing into it early, but one of my questions about that I have in YouTube, one, what kind of was your first trigger to like, I'm going to start making some YouTube videos? What was that day or kind of revelation that you had that I need to start making some videos and content?
Yeah. So early on, I had saw another agent doing some like home tours, not super well done, just done with their cell phone. And I was like, well, geez, I can do that. When I first moved here, I had spent a ton of money on trying to like hurry up and build my business over again. So like when I got here, I didn't know anybody, but I had some money in the bank. So I bought Zillow leads, I bought radio ads, I was doing farming, I hired an ISA to cold call for me, and I lost a ton of money those first 6 months. And so mid 2017, I was like, I need to start doing something where I can kind of get some free leads that are working for me when I'm sleeping. And so I put out like 100 videos in the following 6 months. I was putting out like, almost a video a day of just me walking through model home tours with my cell phone and a gimbal. And it's just literally like, hey, Toll Brothers new neighborhood, the Williamsburg model, it's 4,000 square feet. It's over in this area of town. This is what I think of it. I'm going to take you on a quick tour. and they're kind of crappy videos. You know, like I wasn't getting any good amount of views, but like what I did understand early on was that like those long tail keywords where it was like the Williamsburg model by Toll Brothers in Winter Garden. Like if somebody's searching that and they find that video, that's a pretty high quality view.
Yeah.
So although there weren't like millions of views, there were like good quality views. And so by month like 3, I had my first lead. And then, you know, so again, this is like months and months and months of putting out content. But by month 3, I had my first lead. And I think by month 4, it turned into a closing. And then it was like a lead a week and then a lead a day. And then now it's like, you know, it kind of keeps coming into where it's honestly a little hard to keep up now, like 4 years later.
Yeah. And I remember, and it's like kind of baffled me to where it was. And maybe you will be able to help me out on this, but your one commercial that you had for yourself, and it was like that real creative one where like they were passing you the guitar and passing you different stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody had showed me that, and I don't know if it was like during a training or during me just surfing through YouTube. I remember seeing it, and I was like, "This is really cool." And I had no idea who Ken Pozek was at the time. And you had also not been in as good a shape as you were now, so you look fairly different than you do now. And I just remember thinking, I'm like, man, where did I saw that years ago? Probably close to 3 years ago when I first saw that video, and I was like, that's a really cool video for selling yourself as a real estate agent on like Unique. And how many views is that up to now? I haven't seen it in a while, but
I think it's 4,000 or 5,000. We've switched it out into something newer, and I wanted something that like, it was funny as kind of a take on like all agents put out these videos about like what they're amazing at. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to be like the anti-realtor and talk about all the crap I'm not good at. And at the end, we'll do a little plug on like, hey, but by the way, we do also sell real estate really well. And it caught on really well. And I think that was the intro video for my channel for a long time. And the amount of people that would remark about it, like, hey, like you seem like you weren't just like the stuffy normal realtor, right? And I think like that's for us, it's how do you create yourself into like not becoming just another commodity, which is what so many agents are, right? Leads go on Zillow or Realtor.com or Redfin, and they don't really give a crap on who's on the other line. They just want information, right? Mm-hmm. And so how do you position yourself as like, for us, it's like the knowledge broker, somebody that they actually want to engage with and work with. And so like these leads that we're getting on a daily basis, like I know there's plenty of other teams getting like, 100 leads a day, but they're pay-per-click Facebook leads that they're having to grind through and find the gold, right? These are people that are reaching out to us that are like, we know, like, and trust you already. We want to work with your team. And that's like it's a really powerful place to be.
Yeah, it sounds like the people that are contacting you through the videos and stuff, because they've seen you, they kind of feel like they know who you are already. They know you because you're showing them the value and what you know and understand about that area. They're definitely further down that funnel in terms of like the funnel, talking the top of the funnel being people that you're just contacting, trying to, see where they're at, see what their intentions are. They're already like close to the buying point, probably at that point when they're reaching out.
Yeah, you nailed it.
So it saves you a lot of time and effort in that regard. Yeah. So in the I know you said first 6 months you put out 100 videos. What was the point where it started to kind of click for you? Like, all right, I need to be a little bit more serious about this, or like take this to the next level because it's really starting to pan out. Like this is going somewhere.
Yeah. So for me, like I had, since that like first 6 months of me living in Orlando, I'd spent so much money and lost so much money. I realized that if I was going to do any other kind of marketing, I was going to lead with revenue. And so for me, it was like, I shot the videos myself. I edited the videos myself. I uploaded them. I did everything. Once I had my first closing, I was like, I need to get my time back. Right. And that's like, I think when you think about leverage, there's two things you're thinking about. Like one, can I get my time back? And then also like, where's my lane? What am I good at? And so I can stay in my lane, right? So for me, it was hiring an editor first. And I just found that person on Upwork and I was paying them like $80 a video to edit. And then that allowed me to put out more content more consistently because I'm like not, in my office late at night trying to edit, and which I'm not good at to begin with, but it was just figuring out, And then when it really started cranking and we started getting like a lead or two a week, I hired a videographer and brought that person on. So now like later today, we're going to shoot from 2 to 6 p.m. It's just the way it worked out this week, but we're going to go shoot 2 videos. I show up with the content idea. He has a pre-planned like outline of what we're going to be shooting, but He'll, shoot it, edit it, upload it, and I just do like the thumbnail and title because that's kind of like my creative side still. But for me, that was like, leading with revenue. And once I saw that it was working, kind of leaning in and start like slowly spending money. And then now, like, somebody mentioned on one of these Facebook groups are like, what would you spend to get $1 million in GCI from video? And I was like, well, I'll probably spend 65, 70 grand this year to get $1 million in GCI from my video team. And if I could spend, if I could spend $1 million to get 10 million, I would. I just haven't figured that out yet,
Yeah.
But I definitely think that you lean in as you start making money.
Yeah, and it sounds like it was kind of a little bit of a leap of faith too. Didn't know if it was going to pan out or not in terms of if I invest in somebody else doing this, am I just wasting money again type of thing?
Yeah, exactly. But because I had already had some sales from like the videos that I had physically done, like I knew it would work at that point. But then, I mean, you're talking about like, I've got, like literally spent $60,000 or $70,000 now on video, which is crazy to think. Like, I mean, but like we're already on track to bring in over $1 million in commissions just from YouTube this year alone. So
yeah, that's
it's definitely paid off.
Return on investment there if you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So plus, I know I personally too would rather have to go out and make videos than have to go and make cold calls all day to try to find new clients. That's probably a much easier, less stressful way of going about getting new clients.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, the people I get to meet now and the people that we're attracting to the team has been really great. That's the other thing is like, if you're a cold caller, right, and you're trying to build a team, nobody knows who you are. Like, I mean, you might be a good agent, you might be putting up good numbers, but like ultimately you haven't built a brand, right? And I don't like the more I think about this and the more podcasts I'm on, like, I don't know that video is for everyone, although I think everybody can do it. I think that, you got to stick in your lane. Like there's some agents that I know that would be terrible on video, but they are very good prospectors. And so, if go with your lane, you go with what you enjoy doing. And I think your work becomes a lot more fun.
Yeah, for sure.
I could agree more with that.
On your brand, tell us a little bit about how your brand's kind of changed and evolved over the years, especially because of video.
Yeah. So like we've made ourselves like the Orlando connection as much as possible. Like my goal is to be the Walt Disney of real estate. And so people are like, they think of Orlando and they think of two things, Disney and real estate, or Disney and Ken. And so that's everything we do is like Orlando real estate, Orlando living, theme parks. And we kind of like blend those two together, or those three together. And it's worked really well for us, because there's like plenty of people that move here to be closer to Disney, people that move here to work for Disney. And even if they're just moving to Orlando, then obviously they want to be connected with us as well. So we do like pizza review, coffee review, we did a tour of Shaq's house. Like we're doing a lot of really cool new content that we're doing lately. But that's kind of how our brand has evolved, to kind of tie people into myself and my team. And then now I've even more so leaned into using team members on video. We're shooting 2 more videos next week with different team members. And that's going to allow me to continue to leverage to where I don't have to answer every single call and handle every single lead myself and those kind of things. So it's constantly evolving based on like what we're going after as our ideal client.
Yeah. And now when you say ideal client, what's that kind of ideal client that you're looking for? And are your videos kind of try to tailor to those more ideal clients?
Yeah, I mean, so here's the cool thing about video and YouTube in general is like you can do a video like a farm, right? Like if you're going to farm an area with postcards, like old school farming, you get to choose where that is, right? Like you get to choose your price point, you get to choose your area of town. When I lived in Michigan, I didn't have to leave more than like a 15-minute radius around my house towards the end because I had built this ecosystem right around my house. Video is the same exact way. And so like you can decide who your ideal client is and go after them. So for me, like, if I want more luxury clients in Windermere, I do more luxury videos in Windermere. And I talk about gated communities, and I talk about the prep schools, and I talk about like the luxury sales that have recently happened. And like, lo and behold, those are the people that reach out to me. looking to move into those areas. And so that's a really cool piece around YouTube in general. But then again, like we're missing out on like 75% of the market because not everybody here is luxury or, looking over $500,000. So like we're shooting a video next week. There's a girl on my team that lives a little bit farther south. And she's like, hey, there's a lot of affordable housing here. And I think we should talk about it. Now that's not going to be my ideal person, right? But if she wants to, she's like, I'll handle all the first time home buyers, totally fine with me. There's new construction here we can help them get into. And I want to dominate that. Cool. Well, we're going to shoot a video on that. And then now she's tied to my brand, but I don't have to talk to all of these people. I can just, hey, by the way, I've got this video. Brianna's freaking amazing. You're going to love working with her. And they're going to call her. And so that becomes a cool pivot to where we can get more clients at different price points.
Yeah, for sure. I like it. Now, you mentioned, and if people haven't seen it, I think we'll have to probably link a couple of the videos down in the description here, but your Shaq video. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, that wasn't my listing at all. Everybody always asks me like, hey, so how do you get into Shaq's house? I just literally called the listing agent. And I was like, hey, this thing's been on the market for 6 years. Can we do a tour? And she's like, yeah, let's go. So brought my videographer out. He hired a secondary camera guy that day, so we could have some multiple shots. So we invested a little bit more into it, but I think it's got like 250,000 views at this point. I'm actually helping one of the former Lakers who saw the video but wanted to move to Orlando, and so we're helping them buy a house right now. We're closing next week on a really nice house. Nice. And so I think when we do YouTube content, like yes, we're choosing our ideal client, but we're also our buckets that we really focus on are like lead generation and entertainment. And so if I get lead generation, people coming to my channel because they're Googling moving to Orlando or moving to Florida, and they find me and they subscribe, that's great. But now once I've taught them something, I need to keep them subscribed and keep them entertained. And so like we try to do like 2 different kinds of videos, like one that's going to be a lead capture and one that's going to keep them entertained. And so the Shaq video, although it produced leads, most of that was just like kind of on the entertainment side. And so I think that's our strategy anyways.
Yeah. And now I saw your follow-up video to that because you had a follow-up video from the #1 agent in America, Ryan Serhant, who did a video about your video. And then you did a video about his video about your video.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of real estate inception there.
Yeah. And did you ever end up getting to like chat with them or get in touch with him via that?
He messaged, like when I tagged him on Instagram, he responded back like really very, very quickly. So we didn't no real dialogue, but it was just funny. I mean, actually I had probably a dozen agents say like, oh my God, I saw your video on his video. And I was like, that's kind of wild, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's funny because that didn't even get any much traction, but the amount of realtors that reached out to me, like that's another huge piece of our business is agent referrals, right? And so that alone was worth it for me to even shoot that video.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, and I'm sure it's pretty cool to be on that channel where he's got, I think he has over 1 million subscribers now on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
and
he does.
And a lot of his videos have multiple million views just per video, and he's definitely the most viewed real estate agent in the world by far. He's on $1 Million Listing. If you guys don't watch, he also had another show, Sell It Like Serhant. He's got another spin-off of $1 Million Listing, I think, coming on where he's like
renovating his
own property and stuff. And but he now owns his own film crew, like his own team. He
studio,
hiring and then building his own studio that he does all of his stuff out of. So he's probably spending 4 or 5 times a year what you're even spending now.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I think there's such a content rich, like New York is such a content rich area. Like if I lived in like DC or LA or New York, I feel like I would easily scale up the video side. And maybe that's limiting belief. Maybe I can definitely do that here still as well, but I just haven't cracked that, in order to like putting out that much content. But yeah, you're right. I mean, he took it and he's a media company. And so that's what we're trying to do is like, we're a media company that also sells real estate. And instead of like a real estate agent who dabbles in media. And so I think that's what most realtors do is like they, or mortgage professionals or any of these guys, right? They just, they throw out a market update video that nobody watches. They feel real good about it. And, their mom might watch, but nobody cares. And so, I think that's our industry. And so if you can entertain somebody and keep them engaged and, that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what's been some points when you're finding new content or like trying to create new content? Where does some of those ideas come from? And, you know, what have you seen succeed and what have you seen kind of fail in terms of content that you've tried?
Yeah. I did a video yesterday that failed pretty hard. Well, failed in, you know, view standpoint, but like time watched, it actually did really, really well. I could talk about that in a minute, but like, so finding ideas that work really well, I use a program called Morning Fame. It's morningfa.me. It plugs into your YouTube channel and like says, based on videos you've done, here's other kind of videos that people are watching. Here's the tags that are working really well. Here's where you're being found at. And then you just kind of like plug into that. Like your goal is like, yes, your subscribers matter, they do, but they're probably only going to represent 20% of your views. And so how do you get found? You get found because Google is a search engine and YouTube is owned by Google. And so YouTube is also a search engine. So you got to think about shooting videos around stuff that people are going to search first. And so I didn't really realize that for the first couple of years I was doing YouTube, and which is why the majority had like, you know, 100 views. And so you can use a program like Keywords Anywhere, TubeBuddy, Morning Fame, any of these guys are fine to figure out how much search traffic is around a term. And then you go shoot a video around that. And so that's pretty much our strategy at this point, figuring out like which ones are working, which ones aren't. And then yesterday I shot a video. I was really passionate about it, which is why we shot it. Like I knew it probably wouldn't get, you know, a ton of views right away. But like I interviewed a former like Disney cast member who, you know, taught at the Disney Institute, and he helped open Harry Potter world. And now he's like an author and speaker. And I just loved his story. And so like, I'll share that with my database, and my database might watch it. I'll share that with my agent database of 39,000 people, and some of them will watch it. But it's just good content for the channel. And I think it was on brand. So like for me, I'm making some choices where I shoot videos because like I've shot similar ones in the past that have done really well. So, you know, to get the views, to get the subscribers, again, fill in that bucket. And then there's the entertainment stuff that that I still shoot just because I enjoy it. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I mean it's hard. How many videos are you up to date, roughly? How many have you posted?
Oh man, that's a good question. I don't even know. Do you guys know? Let's see, 100 and most recently, let's see, 30 per page. There's 50. Let's see. It's a few hundred.
That's a lot. And you're trying to shoot for roughly what, once a week at least?
Twice a week now, at least.
Twice a week.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And you have your own crew now, right? That does that you're hiring out, obviously, but they shoot it and edit it for you, right?
Yeah, they shoot it, edit it, upload it, and then I still do the thumbnails and the titles and like the kind of the nerdy stuff on the back end to make sure, you know, like all that's dialed into what I know that the keywords are supposed to be. Eventually I'll leverage that out as well, but just currently I haven't. We're up to 371 videos. Okay. Yeah, and it looks like my first one was uploaded August 10th of 2017. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of videos, especially over just a few short years.
Yeah.
You know, almost 100 videos a year. So if you had to give some people some advice in terms of getting started in video, because like you said, most of the agents, most people, I think in any industry, whether it's any sort of sales, insurance, like lending, whatever it might be, even selling cars, whatever the thing is that very few people, one, try it, and then two, stick with it. Anything that you got that you kind of try to tell people or help people out with when they're trying to break that barrier and get in?
Yeah, I think there's two things mentally that you need to think about. Like one, consistency wins regardless of what you do. Like, you know, if you're in the real estate space or the mortgage space or anybody that, you know, you're cold calling, right? If you're cold calling, it takes a long time to build a pipeline, and then that pipeline eventually matures, and then you're doing lead follow-up, but that takes time, right? That could take you 3, 6, 7, 8 months, years and years, right? Same thing with YouTube is that it takes consistency to win. And so if you're plugged in on a weekly basis and you're consistently putting content out and you're consistently, you know, putting out your message and growing that, that's when you win. You know, if you're going to like, you know, it's funny, like, I don't know about you guys, but like I get postcards to my house every once in a while from realtors, and I almost never get multiple postcards from that same agent. They send out one postcard and they hope that that's going to turn into business. And then when it didn't work, they get pissed and they stop doing it. And so I think that that's a lot of realtors. It's like they'll do a video, or like, I shot this one video, it was really great, and I didn't get any views and no leads. Awesome, you shot one video. I've shot 371 over 3.5, 4 years. You know, like, you have to commit to it, and you got to go in for the long game. And following that up is like, you're building an asset that like Zillow can't take away from you. You know, like, you know, Zillow changes their algorithm, their lead costs go up. Now they're taking basically a referral fee from us agents. It's very, very hard to make money being a Zillow agent. And so for me, I was looking at it like, I'm going to build this asset that nobody else can take away from me. Now YouTube could technically, you know, turn me off and give me, you know, 3 strikes and kick me out. Like, I'm just going to play the game, right? So I'm not going to do that, but I'm also growing an email database through that as well. And then I'm also, from my YouTube channel, pushing people over to Instagram. And so I'm building an asset that essentially I get to control, and I get to control the narrative around and decide how much money I want to spend on it or not spend on it. And I think that's, for me, a much more powerful place to be as a business owner, instead of having to worry about like what Nextdoor is doing, or what Zillow's doing, or Realtor.com, or Redfin, or any of these guys. And so when you think about it that way, consistency, building an asset that is an actual business, I think that hopefully will turn someone's paradigm around to commit to it.
Titleosity is an innovative title and escrow services company with a powerful operations team ramped up and ready to work for you. For your convenience, we cover the entire state of Michigan, offer mailaways and alternative closing options to best fit your clients' needs. Let us know how we can help build your business and make you shine all the way to the closing table. Now, over the years, our realtor partners have appreciated us, keeping them informed on the title process. Please reach out anytime that you may have any questions about the title process. We will work hard for you and your clients, and we would love the opportunity to team up. Contact Dawn Burdick at 248-761-1031 anytime.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see a lot of people too, just in the YouTube space, that not necessarily anything in sales wise, but, you know, eventually they get so big, they're making another source of income or revenue from YouTube because they're getting paid via ads. Are you at that point yet? Or are you working towards getting to where you're starting to get some income from the ads on your videos?
Yeah, I've got ads turned off for the majority of my videos. Some of my older ones, I have them turned on, although YouTube just changed over the past month that like, basically they're like, we don't care if you turn monetization on or not, we're still going to put ads on your videos. But for me, I was like, you know, like, I think I have like 10 or 15 videos with ads on, and I might make $300 or $400 a month. Nothing crazy, right? But I was always like, hey, listen, if I'm going to make $100 from ads, and even one person who was a good lead clicks off to go watch someone else's video, that money wasn't worth it to me, you know? But I know plenty of YouTubers that are like, you know, they get to a place where that's, you know, they'll start doing more broad content. So instead of like Orlando-based content, they would just do real estate in general, or, you know, whatever it is, to kind of get more views and get more content. So for me, maybe that's my, you know, eventually I'll turn monetization on for everything. But right now, all I care about is leads and care about my database. And so, I haven't been going after that too much.
Yeah. That's potentially another level down the road of another stream of income. And
that's right.
I know I just saw from today, I think it was today or yesterday, the video of your long-term buy and hold. So now you have another income stream going to be coming in. You just are finishing up building an investment property that you're going to be renting out. Tell us a little bit about that. And now that you said this is your first long-term hold that you had, is that going to try to continue? Is this your game plan that you're working towards?
Yeah, we want to start trying to build one, like buy or build one a quarter now. So, you know, we're creating all this income, and if we don't start investing it outside of like crypto, I'm gonna.
You're not dumping it all with Dogecoin?
No, I'm not. I thought about it, but no, not at all. So, anyways, yeah, we're building a townhouse in an area that we like really believe in. We think that it's got a lot of upside potential based on like jobs coming in, and I really believe the developer behind the project. And so we're building a townhouse there just because I think it'll cash flow. It's going to have plenty of like, good white collar jobs around it that it's going to rent out forever. I think I shared before we started, it's already gone up 10% in value in the past 3 months, which is insane. But yeah, so we'll start doing that. We're going to also create a wholesale arm and start doing some more ads around like buying cash offers and kind of trying to compete with Open Door and OfferPad and that kind of thing on a very localized level. And so through that, hopefully it'll allow me to offer opportunities to our past clients, our current clients, and then my teammates, right? Like, so I really want to build something cool that my team members can invest in with me and have some opportunity to grow their wealth as well. And so that'll be an arm that we continue to lean in really hard on.
Yeah. Now, is that part of your retirement plan of having a portfolio of investment properties eventually that, just are bringing that consistent cash flow in over and over again?
Yeah, it is. So yeah, we want to have lots and lots of paid off real estate, hopefully within the next, 15 to 20 years. But although I don't ever see myself retiring, but I just think, growing something really big is fun. So that's more the idea than anything. But yeah, something to leave my kids and grow something fun.
Yeah. And now it sounds like that's been pretty recent in terms of like really thinking about the buy and hold side of it and creating that portfolio for the long term. Is that something you ever thought about when you're a realtor in Michigan or anything like that? Or is that kind of just something you just now started deep diving into?
Yeah, it's been, I've done dozens or a little over a dozen actually flips. And so it's always been flips. I had a couple holds in Michigan, but like they were short-term 2-year holds. And so we sold those like after we had left and, or we were getting ready to leave. And so this is going to be the first into the foyer of like long-term holds for us. And so before it was because I needed the income. I was flipping because I needed the income to live. And now it's more or less like an investment strategy, which is just a little bit of a turn of a mindset for me.
Yeah. And still doing some of the flipping in Florida as well.
Yeah, we did 2 last year and it went really well. And that was just like a function of, we had a past client or a current client that like the house, the roof was caving in and smelled like cat pee. And I was just like, there's no way this is going to sell for what I think it could sell for. And she needed to sell in order to buy. So I was like, hey, listen, like, actually an agent on my team that brought me the deal. And she's like, this house, I don't think it's going to get financing because of the roof condition and all this other stuff. It's got polybutylene piping and which if you guys don't know what that is, it's just like piping that most lenders won't lend on now, or insurance companies won't insure because it's not like if it's going to fail, but when. And so she's like, what do we do? And I was like, I'll buy it. So my wife and I bought it for like, $160, put $35,000 into it, sold it for, I think it was $260, something like that. So after fees and commissions and all that kind of stuff, because I let my agent double end it, we walked away with like 40 grand. So a nice little quick flip.
Yeah. Now, what are some headaches you've run into so far in terms of the building process that you got going on right now? Because obviously that's not always as smooth, especially in a crazy market and with all the lumber and pricing and all the stuff going up. What's that experience been like in terms of your first build that you're going to end up holding on to, not just sell?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think more agents should be walking into appointments asking themselves, like, should I be buying here or should I buy this house? Like, instead of just going to take a listing, you should be asking yourself, should I buy this listing? And so when I shifted that focus, every time I went into like a build job meeting with a client, I'm like, should I buy here? Is this where I should go? Right. And so like I walked in, I sold a townhouse, literally the next building over. And I was like, and I kept telling him like, this is going to be an amazing investment for you. Look at down the road, what's coming. Let's look at here. Like you guys are going to love this place, especially over the next 2 or 3 years as this place matures. It's going to be insane. And I was like, I'm telling him this, but do I believe it enough to do it myself? And I was like, yeah. So I called my wife. I'm like, we're going to buy a townhouse right next to. She's like, yeah, whatever. That sounds good. So so I think that, as you change your perspective that way, I think you'll start finding a lot more. But yeah, new construction is what it is. I mean, it was delayed a couple months and it was supposed to be done by August, September. Now it's looking like it's going to be November, but we're locked in on the price and we're good.
Nice. So in your strategy here, you've obviously moved once from Michigan to Florida. You plan on expanding it all now? I mean, you've created a brand, right? It's centralized around Orlando, and you're making a presence. A lot of realtors know who you are. Is this something that you're trying to eventually replicate? Is this in the forecast? Are we bursting any bubbles or giving away any secrets here by asking you if you're trying to expand anywhere outside of just Orlando with your team?
Yeah, so the next step is going to be we'll start doing some more Florida-based content, and if I get like leads outside of that, we'll kind of see how it flows. I have noticed that we're getting a lot more in like leads that they want to move to Orlando but can't afford it, so they default down to like Lakeland, which is like 45 minutes south of us. So we are bringing on an agent that covers that area for us. So if it happens more organically, we will. But I think I could very easily get to $200 or $300 million in sales right here in Orlando and never leave my backyard. So if that's the case, then it becomes like, then what? I think that we look at other verticals from development to investments and, maybe title and mortgage. I'm not really sure, but I think we're going to continue to build the empire here in Orlando for as long as possible. And then if we're forced to move or the opportunity presents itself to expand, then we would.
Gotcha. Now, growing in Florida at the rate you're growing, or Orlando, who's your biggest competitor right now in terms of like, if you going into listing or anything like that, who do you see as like your biggest competitor that you have to get past to kind of slate that top spot that you want in Florida, in Orlando, like that Walt Disney spot?
Yeah. So it's either really the only people that we're going against that we're like consistently up against is like the iBuyers, which is why we need to invest more time and money into that to make sure that we're taking advantage of that opportunity. But there's really only a few teams that are doing more than us here, and not that much more. There's one team that's doing a lot more, but she's like kind of a brokerage. She's amazing, runs a very, very clean business, very respectful of what she's done. But yeah, I mean, doing what we're doing on the media basis, there's really nobody else doing what we're doing. So for me, I think for us, we just kind of look at us and trying to get better internally day by day.
Yeah. I know it's one thing that Mark and I have talked about is stepping up kind of we do the podcast now more frequently and everything, but just media in general is such a good outlet. And, I'm more the perfectionist of stuff's got to be right. And I'll go and edit videos myself and do all that stuff. But like you said, I think I know we have to get and just consistently start putting stuff out there, and
you'll get better over time. No, you get better over time. I mean, like, it's funny. I had somebody kind of like shitting on my content the other day, and I told my wife, like, a year ago, or even 2 years, whatever, a year ago, it probably would have really bugged me. And now I just don't care because, the results have shown up in so many other ways and people have really loved what we've done. And so I think you just got to put it out there as much as possible, as fast as possible. And then you fine tune along the way.
Yeah.
I look back, it's funny scrolling back through my channel, like some of my first videos, and it's a little cringe to me. I like how terrible they were. but then I also hope that like 4 years from now, I look at the stuff we're doing today and I cringe, I think like, oh, we thought that was good, but now look what we're doing.
Yeah.
So
I think that's how it'll always work. But hey, when you have haters, that means that that person's watching your content too.
Yeah.
Two, you never have to worry about working with that person because they've already decided they don't like you apparently. And it's very easy for you not to like them now. And you don't have to do any business with them or anything like that. Right.
Yeah, for sure. And what's interesting about, what you just said is like, when you get like earlier, we talked about you're creating who your perfect client is and going after like your ideal client, you attract who you are as long as you're being authentic on your channel, right? If you're going to do video or media in any way, I think, being as authentic as possible and not trying to be someone who you're not will help you in a lot of different ways. One, it's going to come off better. People will appreciate it. You're going to get more views, but then you're also going to attract the right kind of people. Like if you were like, I don't know, we've all seen those agents that are like, leaning up against their Mercedes and flashing their watches and, trying to put off this like front. And then they typically will probably attract douchebags to work with. And like, I don't want to work with those people. Right. And so like, if you're constantly looking around, like, I don't love my clients. Well, that's probably why. And so if you're super authentic in who you are, you're going to attract like-minded people. And then you're going to all of a sudden love working with the people that call you, which is like a really cool place to be.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Those are some wise words for sure, Ken. You created a beautiful brand around yourself and around your own personality. And I think what you're saying is you're attracting the people that you want to be surrounded by, like your own kind of people. Yes, I don't think we're going to see anytime soon stretched across the Lamborghini.
No,
and
that's
have
not
to
me,
return
man.
it Saturday morning then, right?
That's right. Exactly. Right.
Yeah, it
No,
sounds
we
like
really
it's money.
appreciate it. There's a lot of wise words of wisdom here. I mean, like how you've gone kind of in depth to describe what it really takes to create all of this content, all the work and investment and time that goes into it. It's definitely worth it because what you've done, you've created that asset like you described that nobody can take away from you. And like you said, education, the delivery of your own assets, of course, through media outlets is your own, is the new currency. So if you want to protect your business and protect what you're building up as your empire, this is definitely one of the best ways to do it. So those are some very wise words.
Yeah. So when are we going to see a follow-up video, or because I'm assuming you've had more things added to your home office or your where you have all your memorabilia and stuff and your collector's items. I'm sure you've added more to it. When are we expecting the follow-up video with all the updated stuff?
An update? Yeah, I really should probably. I've got a lot. I bought a Stormbreaker. I don't know if you know what that is, but like from the Adventures. Like, yeah, I got that the other day. I got a lot of new stuff in there. I should probably do a follow up. That's cool. We do a Facebook Live, or I'm sorry, well, Facebook Live as well, but YouTube Live every other Saturday, and it's cool because I get people from like literally all over the world that will tune in live to watch. And I use StreamYard as well, and it's super good to use. But people all the time are like, what's that? Because I do it in my home office, and they're like, what? Can you explain this to me? Where'd you get that from? And so like, it's another cool like touch point where, again, going back to being authentic, like I'm just like a freaking nerd, and like the fact that I finally, I've made some money and can invest in stuff that I love, and I'm not going to hide that from people. And then lo and behold, I attract a bunch of really cool people that, are into the same stuff that I'm into. But yeah, I'll do a follow-up. That'll be fun.
Yeah, for sure. Because the first one was good. And then, like I said, we'll have to add a couple links in the description here so that people can check out the videos that we've been talking about on here and everything. And yeah, that's pretty awesome. So in your time from starting to now, it's a question we always have to ask everybody because it's a What I've Learned podcast. If you had to give somebody advice from what you've learned in growing your brand, your YouTube channel, somebody that wants to take something away from this and kind of try it on their own, try to get in wherever they're located at, try to do something, not exactly, but similar to how you're growing your brand. What's that one thing you've learned that you can pass on to somebody that they can kind of just take and run with?
I would say, consistency, lead with revenue are like if I could share my pain and have you not go through that same pain, it would be lead with revenue first, and then stay consistent in whatever lead gen lever you decide to go in. And if that's video, understand that doing a video every other week on the market is not the way you start. You got to care about the viewer and look and create content that the viewer is going to care about. And through that, you earn the opportunity to be that voice in their life about real estate or whatever it is. And so, yeah, that'd be my voice right there.
I love that. Earn the opportunity. That's pretty.
Earn the opportunity, do money-making activities. Don't take 2 weeks or 3 weeks to make a decision on this or that. That doesn't actually affect the process, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just get it out, and you're going to suck early on. Like, that's the thing. Like, the first time you did an open house, you weren't good at it. I don't care how great you thought you showed off those hardwood floors. Like, you weren't good. And then you got better at it the more you did, right? Like, the first time, as you're like a mortgage professional watching this or whatever, the first time you processed a deal or you took an application, like, you sucked and people were bored. And then eventually you got better and you explained it better, and people got drawn in. And so the same thing with video. Like, you're gonna suck the first few times, and the more you do, the better you get. And so that's why I do these live videos on Saturdays, because I want to get better off the cuff, not edited. And so for me to have to have multiple screens and interact with 100 people commenting and going back and forth, pulling up content and still be engaging, that's just a skill that I'm building. And so the more that I do it, the better I get. So that way, eventually I can go, speaking engagements, and it's a lot easier for me to kind of speak live. And so the reason I take, doing these all the time is because we're shooting, and it gets me, better at my craft. And so I think that's a very important point for people to dig
Absolutely,
into.
Ken, and that would be well worth it with all the knowledge and insight that you have. And even just through this podcast, we've taken away a ton of great wisdom and great advice, golden nuggets right out of this conversation. So, I mean, I can't even imagine how much more you have to offer in a, proper conference with a nice setup, nice hotel, good food spread, because I know you're
Right.
very healthy now and you're all like lean and mean. So
That's
it,
right, man.
it would be very exciting.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That's definitely something we want to add into the repertoire.
We'll be there if it's beachside for sure. You sign me up.
That's right.
Now.
Yeah, Mark just actually closed on his first investment property in Florida, in Orlando there. So,
awesome, man. Congratulations.
Yeah. So we're gonna be making some trips.
There was a
down
friend
that
of a
way.
friend who just kind of handed it over, which was really nice because it was unexpected. And as you know, the market was so crazy, and we started the conversation about 75 days ago, and it was just literally, it was something that just happened, like you said, organically, unexpected, and it was just beautiful the way it came together. And I think it's just going to help us get a little bit more comfortable before we get to the bigger ticket items. Right now, we wanted to just start off with a small condo and just kind of feel it out.
Yeah, that's perfect, man. I love it.
So that was just wonderful. So, and so as you know, anybody who talks to me about Orlando real estate, I've got your name plastered in their texts, their emails or messages or whatever it is. So we're always kind of sharing what we see from you and moving it forward. And all the folks that actually get on your YouTube channel come back to me and say, this guy looks great. We're gonna reach out to him. So that's been wonderful.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, we want to really thank you for what you've done today and what you shared with people. I think that they're gonna really take it and run with it. And I think they can actually just break through the shell, just break out, get to it, upload those videos. They, like you said, they might suck for a bit. You'll get better and better and better, and just keep yourself growing and figuring out if that's what you want to do. And if that's not what you want to do, then maybe you're going to go back to cold calling. Maybe you're going to do something else, but at least they'll give you the opportunity to figure out where you're going to be going.
Yeah. Love it, man. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks
Ken.
Coming on. It's been awesome. So, all right, guys. Well, this has been What I've Learned podcast. I don't know what episode it is, but it's stick around for more episodes, and we'll be back at it. So, thanks, Ken, and we'll have you again for another update at some point.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Take it easy.
You.